7. After 8 o'clock then, John Myler, he was in earlier on today, the Cork manager, he was in great form. He's coming up between 8 and 8:30. And then David Conn with us. Pep and Manchester City feel they are being very hard done by just now. As you've heard, Kevin Kilbane in studio. Hello, Kevin.
Hello, Joseph.
Richie McCormack here as well.
How are you, Joe?
53106. Add off the ball, that's where you'll get us.
I'm Richie. Hello, Richie as well.
Kevin, how are you?
Yeah, it's good.
So what's rare is wonderful. Kevin Kilbane in here yesterday. Our WhatsApp groups filled yesterday with shots of Kevin Kilbane and friends playing golf at Powers Court yesterday in the weather. Don't mind us, we were just doing a show.
Were you?
No problem.
Yeah.
It's fine.
You were working, were you? That's the first. Not on the golf course. I had a good day yesterday, enjoyed it.
Good.
Powers
Is that
Court.
not where Prince Charles was the other day?
He was there yesterday.
Were you down there with Chucky?
There was helicopters flying over the course, like mostly circulating me and Richie and Nathan Murphy.
He won't like that.
Yeah, honestly.
Johnny and Nathan Murphy.
Yeah, Johnny as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was good.
Did you get a glimpse of Charles now?
No, I didn't, unfortunately.
How was the golf?
Golf was okay.
Yeah.
Driving horrendous, putting horrendous.
Right.
But in between, half decent.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, half decent. But it was good. I enjoyed it. First time I played in a year.
Were you a big golfer in your football days?
No, not really.
No?
Not really.
Because that seems to be one of the big things they all do.
Well, it's a big thing that Gareth Bale does, isn't it? So,
yeah.
So.
Well, it kills an afternoon. Like it would do. Like if you've got
No,
nothing on between training or whatever.
I personally felt that you couldn't go out on a golf course if you're going to go and train the next day. It just take too much out your legs.
Take the cart though, no?
John Daly style.
Well, yeah, but you're still up and you're still on your feet, and when you have kids and things like that as well, it's not on the agenda.
Well, no, that is true. Were you pretty serious then about going home and getting your rest?
Yeah, everyone always thinks that players used to get off at 12 o'clock. I don't think I ever got in before 4 o'clock in the
That's an
afternoon.
outrage. That's an outrage. 4 o'clock?
Yeah.
That's an outrage.
4 or 5 o'clock, yeah. I left the house at 7:30 to get in for 8, 8:15, whenever it was in the morning. That's the general life. Long days. Unlike you, Joe. That's the thing.
So you got in early to have your breakfast cooked for you?
No.
Then you trained for an hour or two, and then you
When
hung
I
around
first
playing
started,
PlayStation.
there was no breakfast cooked for you, Joe. So
When you first started, it was a very, very small section of your career. There was a large section where you're at like Premier League and Championship clubs that have cash
even
rolling all over the
when I
place.
went to Sunderland, there was no breakfast available to you.
I've seen the documentary. There was a kitchen.
We never trained at that training ground. That's the new training ground that came when I was just about to leave Sunderland.
Sorry, what stage in your career did having food cooked for you come in?
Probably cooked for you. We had lunch cooked for us at Sunderland. Yeah,
And
we didn't have breakfast.
Did breakfast ever come in your time?
Yeah, that was when I was at Hull.
Was that late?
Yeah, back end.
Right.
No, maybe Everton as well. Sorry, Everton. Yeah, would have done. Yeah.
So that's a reasonable amount.
Yeah,
of
would have had a
career.
good part of my career where we would have had cooked breakfast. Yes, but certainly not in the early days. No.
Would they have cooked a fry ever?
Nah.
No.
Poached eggs.
Poached eggs, of course.
Beans,
yeah.
maybe. Yeah.
Porridge.
Porridge. Yeah.
What was your go-to breakfast?
I would have had porridge and eggs usually. Yeah.
Someone's texting already. What was the best club for food? Everton, Hull. These are the issues we're not afraid to get stuck into.
Yeah,
Imagine Derby probably came up on the
Derby
rails
was
there.
very good.
See, there you
Derby
go.
was very good. It was actually. Yeah, the lads were well looked after at Derby. Good training ground. Food was excellent. Yes, great shout, Rich. Richie's on the ball.
Good man, Kilbane. Jack in the wrong socket. Don't let him near bare wires and electricity, says John on Limerick. I know. So where was your first day? In fairness, you had things in the right hole there. It was just the headphone was by the microphone and all sorts of badness.
Yeah, that was it. So yeah, it's just a slight error, Joe. It's not need to overreact the way you did.
I didn't overreact.
You did.
You should have heard what we all heard.
Yeah.
There's no need to repeat it. It's like a cat in heat.
But yeah, in answer to what you were saying, yeah, I did enjoy the golf yesterday. It was great, and no dramas really. So
Okay, good.
it was nice to get out and get a game, which rarely happens.
Good. What's on the agenda this weekend? What are you up to?
Heading over to Mayo this weekend.
Oh.
I'll be at the Mayo Roscommon game in Castlebar. Yeah, looking forward to that.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Are you planning to go to all Mayo's games this year?
Well, if I can, I'll get to. Yeah, I should be able to get to most of them across the summer. Yeah, it's quite. In the words of one famous Irish sporting star, quite loose this summer, so it's not too bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
What sport did you watch over the weekend just gone?
I've watched so much sport over the last couple of weeks. I've watched virtually all the playoff games.
I haven't talked to you and it feels like a long time.
Yeah, I've watched virtually all the playoff games, which they were great. The championship ones were brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Who did you want to win in those games?
We had this conversation with Nathan, didn't I? And I kind of whittled it down to all 4 teams.
All 4
didn't I?
teams.
Right, okay.
You had something on all 4 teams
Yeah.
in some way, shape or form.
I used to kind of support Villa as a kid, so I like Villa. But Villa were playing West Brom, my old club, so I kind of wanted West Brom to win that. Derby were my old club, so I wanted Derby to beat Leeds, although I actually wanted Leeds to be in the Premier League again. So
because you love Gilesy.
Yeah, I love Gilesy. Yeah, that's it. So no, out of the two now, I'd probably want Derby. Well, Shea's there as well. Shea Given's there, isn't he? So I'd want Shea to.
He was on OTBAM on Friday.
Yeah, he came on. He came on. Yeah,
he was in good form.
He was in good form. Yeah.
And then the FA Cup. Were you on FA Cup duty?
No, I wasn't. I was here. I came in studio with Nathan and Johnny and Dan on Saturday. So we ended up going over the pub actually just after we got finished up to watch the cup final.
And?
Good. Well, City were just unreal, weren't they?
Yeah.
They were just unreal. I mean, did you see? You didn't watch it. I don't know if you watched it, Rich, but Kevin De Bruyne came on. Was it about 60 minutes, 50, whatever it was? And he was incredible. He just came on and it was almost if he was man of the match in the half an hour that he played. Right. He was just sensational.
Yeah.
And City just blew them away. City were incredible. Really,
there's a general feeling now they were so dominant in the way they won that FA Cup that it's almost prompted this reassessment of, well, what is going on here? Abu Dhabi ownership, the amount of money they've spent, the financial fair play. We'll be talking about David Conn later on. Even the question Rob Harris asked Pep about the nature of his salary, which I think Pep took personally as almost, are you suggesting I'm corrupt?
Yeah.
As opposed to, it's not about you, it's about how the club are doing their business. But I don't think Pep saw it that way. They're not getting much love over the last week or 10 days.
I think that question, he just put him on the back foot, didn't it? Rather than just try and maybe just almost take a couple of seconds, relax, answer the question in a way where you can deflect it. He was just straight back down Rob Harris's throat, wasn't he?
He was prepared for the financial fair play stuff. I think he was probably had a word in his ear from the press and PR person. It was like, these are probably going to come bottom way as best you can.
Yeah.
To be asked directly about potential payments from Abu Dhabi, he wasn't ready for it, and that showed big time.
Was Kev allowed chips at any of the clubs, and were there certain players in the squad placed on restricted diets if they were carrying a bit of timber? Yes. Name and shame, Kev, says Lloyd.
No, I'm not naming and shaming.
Andy van der Meijden.
There was one player that came back to pre-season and he was 106 kilos.
What's that in stone?
17, maybe about 17, would it?
17.
Well, I was 83 really throughout my career.
Was this at Hull? I know who this is. Was this at Hull? Did he play up front?
I'm not going to tell you who it was.
I know who it is.
So was it? Yeah.
Did you play with Andy van der Meijden?
Just Google how was it 100? Yeah, I did play with Andy van der Meijden. Yeah. Yeah, I did. Yeah, he was some boy.
He enjoyed his dinner.
Good player as well, Andy. But
how much did you say? 106.
106 kilos.
Give us that in stone, please, JP. He's saying John Hayes was 121.
Really? Well, how tall was John
Just
Hayes?
shy of 17.
The bull
is 106. Just shy of 17.
This guy was probably slightly smaller than me, I would say. Taller than me.
God.
Yeah.
What was he at?
Maybe the same height. Maybe the same height, I would say. Yeah, 6'1".
He just summered well, did he?
Oh yeah.
And what would his playing weight, I presume, was way down on that?
Yeah, probably 90 kilos. Literally 10 kilos across the summer. Plus.
Were you allowed a few chips?
I never had a problem with weight issues.
You've good genes.
I honestly didn't have too much of a problem. So I used to eat healthy. I mean, one year I went away in pre-season. It was actually when I was at Wigan, and it was the first time I really took nutrition advice. So I never drank across the summer when maybe it was a time to have a few beers. I never drank.
Amrazaki.
Followed a really strict diet. No, I'm not going to tell you. So I followed a really good diet, and I came back, and I had I think my body fat was about 5.5%, 6%, which was never me. I was actually
you monster.
I was too slim, It was just and that was right at the start of pre-season. There was nowhere else to go off it, if you know. So I think
5 or 6%. Yeah.
Yeah, it was around that. It was.
Because remember, Roy Keane got incredibly lean.
Yeah.
There was a period where he wasn't eating meat and he was getting sick all the time.
Yeah.
And they checked him and his iron levels were low, and the Man United nutritionist, Man City on the brain, Man United nutritionist said, an L steak now and then won't kill you. For the love of God, stop just having salad.
I had that over here. I had low iron levels as well. Alan Byrne, Dr. Alan Byrne over here with the Irish squad blood tested me, and I and iron stores well down. Yeah.
Because you weren't eating much meat.
Slightly anemic. Yeah. Much meat. Yeah, it was. Yeah. Fish and chicken diet essentially. Really. Yeah. White meat.
What body fat percentage did you like to be at? Do you feel you're at your best?
I'd say about 8 to 10%. Yeah,
that's about right.
8 to 10%. Yeah, that's probably what I would have been. Majority of my career, I was very rarely over 10 anyway. So or around 10, I would say. Yeah.
The Irish 10%.
That was John O'Shea used to say that. Irish lads 10%. Irish fat backs. We all had fat backs.
Just like Alan Partridge.
The point here was seriously though. Us Irish dumplings, not genetically gifted, get us down to about 10%. That's about as much as we're going to manage.
Yeah.
Happy
majority
out.
of Irish players.
So we need the extra padding, Joe.
Yeah. What's an Irish fellow walking around the street now? I know that the average fellow walking around the street's a broad question. But like...
Weight-wise, or percentage-wise?
Percentage-wise.
Oh, I don't know.
15, 20, 25?
So, yeah. Probably up to 20, I would have thought,
20.
yeah.
But like 20% body fat is... You wouldn't look at someone like that and go, geez, they're in terrible shape, would you?
No, probably not, no.
Right.
Probably not.
What are you now, do you reckon?
Probably 15, I would have thought, to 20. Yeah, I would have thought.
You're still in good shape.
I would have thought, something like that. I don't know. I've not done it in a long time.
Good talk, though. Good talk we're having here.
Yeah. Yeah, do you ever had your body fats done, Rich?
God, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not likely to either. Why seek out bad news?
Yeah, it's true. It's very true.
Sure, lads, Kenny Cunningham would have lived on chips, buns and star bars, and he was always a whip, it says.
Well, do you know what? It's funny with Kenny. Kenny used to love desserts, right? So Kenny would always have apple pie. Like, you know, when I was playing, I wouldn't really... I tried not to have... I'd have a dessert here and then. Maybe after a game, I'd have a dessert and things like that. But lead up to games, trying to restrict everything that I was eating, trying to watch what I'm eating. And Kenny was just, like, horsing, like, plates of food into him. Apple pies and, you know, whatever it was, a crumble after with, like, ice cream and everything thrown on top of it. Honestly, he was just ridiculous.
It speaks volumes of the clubs he was playing for. This is the stuff they were serving in the first place.
I don't think he can put on weight, though. He's even in here now.
He hoovers stuff into
It's
him.
like, lads, Champions League night, get some Leo Burdocks on.
Yeah.
Get some
He sat
chocolate,
here
get
with a
some
tray
this.
full of cream cakes
Yeah.
before we went on air.
Kenny secretly
2 weeks
works
ago.
out a lot, though. Do you know that?
Does he?
Forcing it into him.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Kenny's well trimmed, you can tell.
No, he's still in good shape. So David Connor's going to join us around 8:30 or so. John Myler, as I said, was in earlier on. Jeez, he was in good form, as you might expect. Cork going at the weekend against Limerick.
I know, I'd like to have seen him actually, wasn't in, yeah.
Would you have got to know? Would you and David?
I have met him. I've met him once before, actually. Yeah, I've met him once with David before. David and I's careers overlapped a little bit. Overlapped ever so slightly, just at the back end of it. And he had that. Obviously, he had. I think did he do two cruise ships, Dave? Yeah. So we just missed each other when he was starting to break through. So we never got the chance to.
It was a good shot. It's worth sticking around for. My big takeaway from it, not that it's the most important thing at all, is that. So I was chatting to him. He did a degree in chemistry, John Myler, back in the 70s in Cork. Yeah. And I was saying, you know, but you're now lecturing business. What, you know, what happened here? And he was just saying, oh, look, his career took him different places. But he was saying he went for a job in a paint factory after college, after his degree in chemistry. And, you know, they passed the test and he got the job and everything. They're like, just one quick thing, we need to do test your sight for colour. And it turned out he's colourblind when it comes to green and red.
Really?
Yeah. So I was like, but you're watching Cork and Limerick at the weekend.
Yeah.
And he was saying, yeah, no, far side of the pitch, it'd get a bit tricky for me. I'd have to be looking at helmets and body shapes. He's colourblind when it comes to green and red, and he was Cork Limerick. But then he was saying David was the same.
Was he?
Yeah, and he told, it's cool, I don't give away the whole interview, but he was telling a great story about going to see David playing for the Irish under-21s against like Turkey.
Was he giving the ball away?
Gave it away 3 times in the first half, whipped off at half-time. He's like, Dad, I thought I was passing to my own player.
That was my excuse for my career as well.
There we are. So that's on the way, 8 o'clock. We'll talk with John Watson around 7:30.
I did watch that the weekend. I watched a lot of the football and hurling over the weekend though as well. So it was great to see Cork win there. Anyway,
what did the football was a bit mad.
I watched it. I watched the tip.
Did I hear you giving out a bit down, Armagh?
Yeah, I watched that, and for all the drama, and they're saying that the game's back. I watched it. I watched a lot of it, the first half in particular, and I thought it was pretty poor.
Didn't think much of it.
No, not at all. Really, pretty poor game. I thought by and large certainly for the first half anyway.
We'll be talking to John Watson about Niki Lauda. Rich, that's your first story.
Yeah, tributes pouring in all day for the F1 legend Niki Lauda has died at the age of 70. He was a 3-time drivers' champion. The Austrian famously returned to the track just 42 days after suffering almost fatal burns following a crash at the 1976 German Grand Prix. Lauda was also an integral part of convincing Lewis Hamilton to join Mercedes, and that relationship has obviously borne fruit since. The current drivers' champion said of Lauda today, "I'll miss our conversations, our laughs, the big hugs and the winning races together. God rest your soul. Thank you for being a bright light in my life. I'll always be here for your family should they ever need me. Love you, man." Lauda underwent a lung transplant last year, partly as a result of the effect that 1976 crash had upon him. But speaking in 2017, Lauda said he had no hesitation at the time about returning to the cockpit.
Racing, driving was my job at the time. I always knew how dangerous it was right from the beginning. I was not surprised to have an accident, but I was happily surprised. It sounds funny now that I'm still alive. I knew that what I was putting myself into. I saw every year 1 or 2 guys getting killed. So this was my world. So my accident, I was lucky, I was alive. So therefore I didn't have much problem to decide to go back, to take the same chances before, because I knew how dangerous it was. It was not that I was put something into which I didn't know what it was all about. So from this point of view, I said, if Dunkel tells me I'm fit, I can drive again, I really want to see how long it will take me to come back.
John Watson coming up around 7:30. They were teammates, and Watson was one of the drivers who arrived on the scene at Lauda's crash and held him, because whatever way the Nürburgring was set out, the medics were a long way away from where the crash happened, so we had to hold him for quite a long time. Spoke to Watson about this a couple of years ago, and he just talked about looking down and seeing just a mess in his laps.
The Richard Williams piece on Lauda today, his obituary today in The Guardian, mentions how when he returned 6 weeks later, his wounds and his burns were still wrapped up, but were weeping still by the time he returned.
Well, the BBC had a piece like that, yeah. So he returns 40 days later, which seems frankly ridiculous, and he shouldn't have been allowed to. But he was still in the mix for the Drivers' Championship.
Now, would he? That's the thing.
No.
So
he was still in the mix for the Drivers' Championship with James Hunt. So he returned 40 days later. He finished 4th in the Italian Grand Prix. But as you said, Rich, by the end of his race, this is the BBC, his unhealed wounds had soaked his fireproof balaclava in blood. When he tried to remove the balaclava, he found it was stuck to his bandages and he had to resort to ripping it off in one go.
He's an incredible man.
There's a level of insanity there.
Yeah, but ultimately, as mentioned there, it's that crash that impacted upon his life being cut short there at the age of 70, because he underwent a lung transplant partially because of what he'd inhaled during the course of that crash and that fire at the Nürburgring.
So John Watson will join us around 7:30 or so.
Rob Kearney's name was notable by its absence from the list of players awarded new Leinster contracts today. The 33-year-old fullback's current deal is set to expire after the World Cup in the autumn. Leinster have, however, confirmed the return of winger Cian Kelleher after 3 seasons with Connacht. Cian Healy, meanwhile, says he wants to continue helping both Ireland and Leinster achieve success. The Loosehead has signed a new contract with the IRFU, which will keep him at home until the summer of 2021. On the field tonight, Derry City can move to within a point of third-place Bohemians in the SSE Airtricity Premier Division. Declan Devine's Candy Stripes have made the trip to Richmond Park to face St. Pat's, with kick-off in 25 minutes' time. While Arsenal boss Unai Emery has backed the decision made by Henrik Mkhitaryan to miss next week's Europa League final with Chelsea in Baku, the Armenian won't play because of diplomatic issues between his country and Azerbaijan over a border dispute. Arsenal say they've written to UEFA to express their deep concerns about the situation, and it's led to calls from some for the club to boycott the final. But despite assurances from the Azeri government, Emery says they back Mkhitaryan's decision.
Yes, I can't believe. But I know, and I spoke this morning with Henrik Mkhitaryan. It's very, very personal decision. I respect him. He wants to play and to help us to playing with the team. But they spoke, both family and him, and decided not to go.
It's fair enough. It's a real pity he's been put in that position.
yeah,
The UEFA, FIFA notion that they're going to Baku to help spread the game.
yeah.
It's the most global sport there is. There's no spreading needed. We're fine. Like, Baku's fine. Just be honest, it's about money.
No.
They gave us a chunk of money, so we wanted to go.
Yeah,
Spread the game.
you know, don't you?
Spread the game.
You know, yeah.
Let's try to see if this football business catches on around the world.
Literally, that piece of toast has been buttered right into the corners. It's fine. We're grand.
Yeah.
We don't need to go to Azerbaijan for a bleeding final.
Tony from Athlone. I was at the FA Cup final as a Watford fan, lads. Interesting. You don't meet many Watford fans around these parts. Incredible support from the Hornets, even when 5-6-0 down. Man City fans totally nonplussed by the win. Man City fans left before the end of the match and did so while complaining about the costs of supporting such a successful team. I have little empathy for their plight. Did the stadium empty out? Surely Man City fans hung around.
City fans were around for the trophy presentation by and large, yeah.
Would have thought so. Golf is an exercise that should never be included on the Saturday morning of a stag, says Paul in Cork. It tires the body and impacts the Saturday night dancing.
John, I saw the other week. There was up at one of the eldest lad was playing up in the Fianna at the time. He was playing against their under eights, and there was a gang of lads over from England, all in boiler suits, having a hurling lesson.
Were they?
10 o'clock in the morning of a Saturday.
Stag.
Yeah.
Do you know, that's not.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's all right.
I know, yeah, but like, I'm sure there's a couple of them just want to be drinking somewhere.
Ah, yeah.
No, they're just recovering at that stage. They don't want to be drinking at that
pucking the
stage.
ball around,
Give it till
you know.
12, lads. Give it till 12.
I don't want to do activities on a stag.
But it was a nice
Ever.
It was a nice kind of mix of dichotomies.
I won't talk about your stag then. I'll leave it on. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think you should now, Kev.
Activities in a stag are just ugh.
Doing stuff. No.
So
Yeah.
mine was to see a football match.
I know, that's what I mean.
Well, that's different.
It's an activity, isn't it?
Now, you're sitting on your hole, Kev. It's grand.
You're watching a match.
Yeah, you travelled quite far to get to that game.
Preston Rotherham.
Yeah.
One of the great games.
Classic. Plenty of Irish stars on show, wasn't there, for you?
That's different to like, we're going to go to Quasar, or we're going to like do
Temping bowling.
We're going to get in a plastic
Sounds
ball
great.
and play football or something.
Zorbing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That kind of stuff. I don't know. Not for me. That's Nafina on the Moby Road.
Yeah.
There's something very nice about that whole setup there.
Yeah,
that
it is.
pitch.
There's loads of them like that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was in around Vincent's one as well. Nice setup there too. Carlo manager Turlough O'Brien has had his 20-week suspension upheld by the GA Central Appeals Committee. The CAC have also upheld the 12-week suspensions doled out to coach Stephen Poacher and midfielder Brendan Murphy. All three were guilty of threatening behaviour towards the match referee James Birmingham after their league defeat to Down in March. Carlo begin their championship campaign this Saturday at O'Moore Park against Meath. While former FAI General Secretary Brendan Menton has warned that the association's debts could hamper the development of a generation of young players. Menton was speaking on this morning's OTB AM, where he claimed those who take positions on the board at July's AGM should have the adequate qualifications.
And if we look at it, there's 400,000 people involved in the game in Ireland, yet it narrows down to about 175 people attending the general meeting. What's that? Less than 0.5%. Then it narrows down to 59 people in council and remaining 8 people on the board. So you have a very narrow funnel of control. And most of the people involved in that are historical affiliates, right? And they're not, it doesn't reflect the activity in the game. The biggest part of the game in this country is underage football. It has something like 4 delegates to this council. Women's football, the fastest growing, has 2. Coaches are not represented. Yet some of the historical, like the Leinster Football Association, has something like 10. One-sixth of the people on council coming from one organisation. That really doesn't do it very much anymore. So you have to start by a radical change in the fundamental structure of the association. The other thing you have to change is the culture of the association. And by that I mean you have to change the attitudes, and unfortunately you have to change the people. Noel Mooney talked about building trust. You're not going to build trust with the grassroots of Irish football if the same people stay in charge.
Fair points.
Can't disagree with any of that.
Yeah, fair points.
I saw the Noel Mooney interview he did it was on FAI TV as well, and he spoke about building trust and things, but you can't get away from the fact is that of his relationship with John Delaney. It has to be said.
Yeah.
That's the thing that you immediately think of. His relationship with John Delaney, and Brendan Menton there spoke also about, we could lose a generation of footballers. I would say we've lost a generation of footballers by not having people like Brian Kerr involved within the structure of Irish football. I know it's an easy thing to say, but that's what's happened across the game, and that's the sort of thing that winds you up. But Noel Mooney has got he's going in obviously in a 6 months interim period to try and help out with the FAI, but that's the immediate thing, that he's essentially, in many people's eyes, a John Delaney man.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That clip from OTVAM, our sports breakfast show, it's on every weekday morning at 7:45. You'll find it at offtheball.com, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and you can also start your day with Off the Ball, and you can see our social channels for full broadcast details. Speaking of the next generation, Brighton striker Aaron Connolly named in the Republic of Ireland under-21 squad for the very first time. The under-23 Premier League Player of the Year is one of 22 names revealed by Stephen Kenny for next month's Toulon tournament. UCD provide 3 of the 7 League of Ireland-based players that will travel to France for games with Mexico, China and Bahrain.
And just a final text. Niki Lauda would have won that F1 championship that year, but for the rain at the last race in Japan and him not being able to blink due to his injuries. Certainly he could have won it that last year in Japan. Generally what I've been reading is there was torrential rain in Japan in that last race, and he was just fearing for his safety, and he pulled out after 2 laps saying it was too dangerous. Probably a consequence of, frankly, the post-traumatic stress he was suffering and pretending it wasn't. And it was amazing he got back in the car. That's your newsround for this evening. We're going to take a short break, and John Watson's next.
Off the Ball on News Talk.
Tommy, that's some title, Game of Thrones Weapons Master. I say the women love it.
I don't know about that bit, but I love it.
Tell us, how many weapons passed through your hands during the series?
Oh my God, thousands, absolutely thousands. I mean, alone in the arrows, making arrows and fletchings and bows, and we're probably in the tens of thousands in that alone.
Hear the full News Talk Breakfast podcast at newstalk.com and on the News Talk app.
Speaker, why do worms have legs? Why are oranges orange? How much does a helicopter cost? Can I play outside?
Remember when your kids spoke to you, not the internet? Well, with Vodafone Gigabit Smart Wi-Fi, you can turn off the Wi-Fi for specific devices, like your home assistant.
Mom, can Tom come to play? Mom, I got a pencil stuck.
If you really want to, that is. Vodafone Gigabit Broadband Superfast Fibre direct to the home. Vodafone, the future is exciting. Ready?
Subject to availability in selected areas. T's and C's apply. See Vodafone.ie.
When it comes to appliances, I like mine delivered. I.e., they're in my kitchen at the time agreed. The biggest brands at the best prices. Like washing machines from only $179.95. American fridge freezers from only $599.95. Ovens from only $169.95. Technology, dishwashers, barbecues. You don't even have to leave your home. Just clickety-click and bingo. Your appliances delivered. AppliancesDelivered.ie. Buy online now.
Life feels better when you know your loved ones are being looked after. Well, now you can protect your family's future for just €10.10 per month with Leia Life Insurance. Simply answer a few short questions. There's no medical required. And unlike any other insurer, you're covered by Leia Life instantly, which means your family will get a lump sum payment should you pass away. Join us online and you'll get a 10% discount and a further 10% if you're already a Leia Healthcare member. Visit leialife.ie or call us now on 1890 907 100.
Insurance provided by iptiQ Life SA. Leia Healthcare Limited, trading as Leia Life and Leia Healthcare, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
It's been said an official Ford service is more trouble than it's worth. Let's bust that myth. Our Ford trained technicians are best placed to service your vehicle. They use Ford Video Check, a state-of-the-art technology that sends you a video of any faults found, so you can approve the repairs required online. Starting at €149 for cars and €169 for vans, you get a free €20 Circle K fuel card. Bust the myth. Contact your local Ford dealer or book online at Ford.ie. Ford service. Better performance and great